In Myanmar, the armed forces have seized power and detained the country's leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, and other democratically elected figures. Troops are patrolling the streets and a nighttime curfew is in force, along with a one-year state of emergency. The US President Joe Biden has raised the possibility of imposing new sanctions. Now, the army there alleges that the recent election victory by Ms Suu Kyi's party was undermined by fraud. She has urged her supporters to protest against the military coup. Now, Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, was ruled by the military until 2011. After democratic reforms, Aung San Suu Kyi was in partial control with the military's agreement. After spending 15 years under house arrest, Aung San Suu Kyi was hailed around the world as a symbol of democracy. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Now her leadership and reputation are damaged after defending the army's brutal treatment of Myanmar's minority community of Rohingya Muslims. But she still enjoys great support among many people in Myanmar. The BBC's Fergal Keane has the latest.
An army reverting to autocratic type, swiftly and ruthlessly deposing a democratically elected leader. Somewhere behind the guns, Aung San Suu Kyi is once more a prisoner of the generals. And even if people never trusted the military, there's still shock at what's happened.
The army assaulted people as it carried out a coup on the civilian government elected by our people. Our country is just a bird learning to fly. Now the army has broken our wings.
I am surprised and shaken. I fear that prices will rise and people will revolt. I hope that Aung San Suu Kyi and her colleagues will be freed sooner rather than later.
The crisis began when Suu Kyi's party won a landslide victory in elections last November. That win may have convinced the military that their hold on key security ministries, the root of real power here, was threatened. This was their response, relayed to the public on state television. Allegations of election fraud from an army notorious for its human rights abuses. There'll be a state of emergency for a year with limitless powers to detain political enemies. This is the husband of one woman MP asking the soldiers what they want. His wife is taken away in one of the numerous dawn raids. Expect them to escalate. The coup has an air of dark familiarity. For decades, the military has tried to maintain a monopoly of power. This was in 1995, when Aung San Suu Kyi was released after her first 6 years of house arrest. The woman I met then was a global human rights icon.
I think I became more political after I was put under house arrest than before. Because once I was under house arrest, I became totally a political animal. Because this was my whole existence.
But human rights would eventually come second to politics. 3 years ago, by now sharing power with the military, Aung San Suu Kyi defended generals accused of genocide against the Rohingya Muslims, even appearing for the defence at a war crimes trial in The Hague.
Do you ever worry that you will be remembered as the champion of human rights, the Nobel laureate, who failed to stand up to ethnic cleansing in her own country?
No, because I don't think there's ethnic cleansing going on.
For Western powers, the issue isn't about a personality, but the principle of democracy in Myanmar. And tonight, President Biden threatened renewed sanctions on the military. But he needs Chinese support, and that's far from assured, given the competition for regional influence between Beijing and Washington, and China's long-standing support for the generals. The army's supporters were on the streets today, but the cheers won't echo for long. Ahead lies deepening isolation, perilous uncertainty. Fergal Keane, BBC News.